This is a look at the January 2025 Human and Social Biology Paper 3. This exam is the most recent exam for the CSEC HSB syllabus. It is the alternative for those candidates who do not have an SBA. So this paper would be worth 20% of the total grade. It starts off in its usual manner, telling you you have an hour and 15 minutes, 75 minutes to complete this paper, which consists of a case study and 14 related questions. You have to do all of them. So let's get into it. I am your favorite principal taking you through this paper. The case study reads as follows. Kendrick's older sister, Donna, is expecting a baby. He overheard their mother tell Donna that babies who are breastfed thrive better than those who are fed with formula. Kendrick decided to investigate the nutritional content of breast milk and formula milk. He gathered his data by reading the nutritional facts label of a brand of formula milk and researching the nutritional contents of breast milk. Kendrick also interviewed two maternity nurses and a pediatrician to obtain their opinions about the benefits of breast milk versus those of formula milk. So that's the case study. It's Kendrick. You are Kendrick investigating this thing, and basically a case study is where you compile the report. So question 1 asks you to write a suitable statement of the problem. And we already see that Kendrick had overheard his mother telling Donna that breast milk is better than formula milk. So that will give us the gist of our problem. Breast milk is better than formula milk to help babies thrive. State the aim of the investigation. Again, that comes out from the case study background. So in this case, we know he's comparing both of them, and he should be trying to determine which one is actually better. Is what his mother said to his sister Donna, is it true? Right? He is trying to figure out which one of the two between the breast milk or the formula is the better option for babies. So that's what he's trying to determine. So you could just state that and get your 2 marks. 2 of the 14 questions already done. I want to encourage you to keep track of your marks and see how you would have fared in this 2025 January paper 3. So the methodology suggests 4 questions Kendrick may have asked the nurses and pediatrician in the collection of the data. So straight up, the most obvious question is, which one will you recommend? Yeah, that has to be a question. Which one are you recommending that mothers use? All right. What are the benefits of each type of milk? What are the disadvantages of each type of milk? How long can each type of milk be used independently? Yeah, and do we need to supplement it beyond a certain point? So after 6 months, do we need to start doing something else? After a year, do we need to start adding more things to their diet, etc.? Right? These are 4 possible questions. There are many other questions. You just need to be in line with what the examiner is thinking, and you would get your marks. So you could let us know in the comments, which are you in favor of these questions? Would you have other questions? Let us know if you had other questions you think Kendrick would have asked. State 2 other ways in which Kendrick could have collected the data. And it did tell you the background information, did tell you how he collected the data. He gathered his data by reading, and he did interviews. He interviewed 3 people, 2 maternity nurses and a pediatrician. So what else could he have done to collect his data? He could have done surveys of mothers. He could have surveyed a whole host of mothers, get a nice sample size. He could have used the biodata of babies who were breastfed, and collected biodata for babies who were formula fed, see which one is growing more, which one is gaining more weight, etc. Yeah, so those are two other ways in which Kendrick could have collected the data. Stage 3 limitation of Kendrick's research. What's the problems in Kendrick research? The first one that should be obvious is that he only used one brand. The nutritional information that he was reading, it was just one brand. It says that there, reading the nutritional facts label of a brand of formula milk. There are so many brands of formula milk. Some of them add different things to their milk. So his sample size is a problem. Just using one, that becomes a problem. Yeah. His interviews were based on opinions, and the case study literally said that, right? He asked the two persons what were their opinions. He obtained their opinion. Their opinions aren't really scientific. Yeah? Their opinions wouldn't be scientific. All right? So it means, and it also means Kendrick's interviews were biased in favor of breast milk because of what he heard his mom tell his sister. Right? And we will see that as we go on in the paper. So let's read the presentation of data. Kendrick recorded the findings about the nutritional value of breast milk and formula milk in Table 1 and Table 2. We have the micronutrients in breast milk and formula milk here: calcium, sodium, vitamin C, and iron. And then we have the macronutrients for the different milks here: protein, fat, carbohydrates. Kendrick also recorded the following responses from the interviews conducted with the nurses and the pediatrician. Remember, it was 3 persons he interviewed. There are economic savings to breastfeeding. Breast milk contains antibodies, hormones, enzymes, beneficial bacteria, and white blood cells, which are absent in formula milk. Breast milk is always at the right temperature. Breastfeeding creates a bond between the mother and the baby, and that carries us backwards, which is why I said Kendrick's interviews were biased in favor of breast milk. We could already see that based on these remarks, the bias seeping in, right? Question 6, on the graph provided on page 9, using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 10 milligrams per 100 milliliters, draw a bar chart to represent the data in Table 1. Include a suitable title for the graph. So 8 marks for this question if you're drawing this graph. 1 mark is included for the title. So let's do it. We've drawn the graph here for you. And based on the numbers, remember it's Table 1. So it is the micronutrients. It's this table up here. We have breast milk versus formula milk. So micronutrients are on the x-axis and the amounts are on the y-axis, and we do have that. They told us what scale to use: 2 centimeters represent 10 units. So we have the calcium, sodium, vitamin C, and iron. We did give a key as well, so everyone could follow along no matter who the examiner is. We did it in black and blue. You would have done it in pencil. Maybe you might have shaded one graph or drawn some scribble or something within each bar. You just had to represent that in the key. They did ask for a title as well. So let us give a title showing the micronutrients in breast milk and formula. Yeah. Now for paper 3, you do have to turn back and forth quite a bit. So That does buy up some of your time, turning back and forth to the information. It's like what it says, state one other way in which data could have been presented. So you are looking at your bar graph here, and another way this data could have been presented is a line graph. So it's simple just to state that by just writing it in. The analysis and interpretation of data from your graph or otherwise determine the micronutrients which is present in the greatest amount in both types of milk. So they expect you to use your graph, or you could go to the table. So it's plenty back and forth. The micronutrients which is greatest, you looking at the graph, you see it went up there. That is about 46, right? That's where it was on the table. Yeah, formula 46. Right? So you know it is calcium. So in both types, right? Remember, it's both types. The micronutrient, which is present in the least amount in both types of milk. Again, we could go to the least amount. We see iron coming out here. It's the least amount. Even when you add it up, it's 1 and 3. That gives you 4 total. So that's, yeah, the least amount. So the answer for that one is iron. The micronutrient, which is in similar proportions in both type of milk. We have sodium in the breast milk. It is at 15. In the formula, it is at 16. The table also confirms that for us. So the answer for that question is sodium. Based on the data in table 2, on page 8, so it means they are finished with table 1. So now we are using table 2, which is the macronutrients for the two kinds of milk. State which type of milk is more likely to result in weight gain in babies. Give one reason for your response. And means we have to go to the table 2, and we compare it. Proteins is responsible for weight gain. Fats, we do know that babies tend to get fat. They get nice and plump. They aren't the most active, so they store plenty. Carbohydrates, the carbohydrate for formula is 8.2. Carbohydrates for breast milk is 5.8. But the one that is concerning us is the fat. The fats is concerning us, right? It's nice for storage. So we are going with breast milk. It has more fat. Identify the macronutrients which is present in the greatest amount in breast milk. All right, so again, the table 2, we're looking for one that is the largest, which one is the highest, and we are seeing that it is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. So carbohydrate is the highest in the breast milk. As we continue to question 10, identify 2 components in breast milk which will improve baby's immunity. And this information is taken from what the interview brought out. The interviews with the 3 persons. And it's the second point, antibodies, white blood cells. You know that is associated with the immune system. So that is your answer. Antibodies and white blood cells. Describe the type of immunity that is passed from a mother to baby. And for this, you know, the mother is the baby's natural nature, right? And the baby isn't doing anything, it's just receiving, so it's passive. So we want to say that natural passive immunity. Lipase is an enzyme found in breast milk. Identify the macronutrient that this enzyme breaks down. Lipase breaks down lipids. You know that as fats and oils. So they have it identified as fats. So we just write fats. The recommendations and conclusion. Explain 3 benefits to babies and mothers other than improving babies' immunities. And you can read through the background information and the interviews again to make sure you are not missing out anything. 3 benefits: savings, creates a bond with the mother. You want that maternal bond to develop nicely. And access to food at a correct temperature once the mother is present. Yeah, we're showing that correct temperature. Just to notice that we pulled it from that specific answer. So we just identifying where we got the answers from. Question 14. State one conclusion that can be drawn from this research. Nice conclusions, and there are different conclusions that could be drawn from this research depending on which aspect you take it from. So we are going with just a couple of them. Formula has more nutritional value. In terms, the values were higher for nutrition for tables 1 and 2 for formula. Look, formula is higher. All right, so nutritional wise, if we're going on just nutrition, we know that that is higher. And then breast milk promotes a better immune system for babies. That's based on the interviews for this, that he interviewed with the 3 persons, the 2 maternity nurses and the pediatrician. And this will give us our 40 marks. So it was a very doable paper. Do let us know how you fared in the comments, which answers you had different from ours. Again, we ask you to subscribe to the channel and show support as we continue to provide resources for persons doing these June 2025 CXC exams. From your favorite principal, ciao.